Hello everyone and welcome to Distribution Duel, brought to you by Contemporary Research. I'm your host for today's festivities, Tyler Kern. Now this game is simple and closely resembles a show you might have seen a time or two on TV. We've polled 100 respondents on 5 questions dealing with video distribution. Our contestants will try to guess the most popular answers for each question, and we have a battle brewing for you between 2 teams who will be dueling it out for distribution dominance. First, we have Team RF, made up of Dan Muckle, President and Sales Representative for Muckle Sales, and Scott Hetzler, President and Chief Engineer for Contemporary Research. Dan and Scott, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Tyler. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, Team RF, tell us a little bit about yourselves and also tell us about RF distribution a little bit. Dan, let's start with you.
We're the Pacific Northwest representative for Contemporary Research. We have a long history and a very successful history with Contemporary Research, and RF has been around a lot longer than IP distribution, so it's very widely used and very, very dominant format.
Dan already taking shots at the other team. We'll hear from Team IP here in just a moment. But Scott, take a moment and introduce yourself to the audience as well.
Hi, Tyler. Scott Hetzler, President and Engineer at Contemporary Research. And I think RF is the best, although Contemporary has both solutions for RF and IP.
Well, Scott, you'll have an opportunity to prove your dominance here coming up in the game just in just a few moments. Let's introduce Team IP now. It's Craig Brown, President of Shoreline Communications, and Paul Briggs, AV Product Support Manager for Contemporary Research. Craig and Paul, welcome to the show. Craig, introduce yourself to the audience.
You bet. Thank you, Tyler. My name is Craig Brown with Shoreline Communications. I'm the Southeast region rep, manufacturer's rep for Contemporary Research. And a fun factoid that folks may not know, we are widely known in the industry, Contemporary Research is, for RF distribution. But boy, we do a ton of IP distribution as well, and we're looking forward to exploring that here a little bit more today.
Excellent stuff, Craig. And Paul, finally, let's wrap up with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about IP distribution.
Yeah, so I'm the AV Product Support Manager at Contemporary Research. So I kind of know the ins and outs of all the IP and the RF since I have to interact with customers on both things, and not everybody really is really a good fit for RF distribution. So I'm kind of the position that there's a place in the market for both.
All right, well, let's get things kicked off here. It's going to be a fierce battle between Team IP and Team RF. We're going to have our first two representatives here from each team guessing the first question. So here we go. It's first going to be Paul and Scott stepping up to the hot seat first. Paul and Scott. All right. So first hand that I see in the air will be the person who gets to answer first. And here is your question. We need for you to name the top 6 industries utilizing video distribution. We just need your number one answer at this point. Just your number one answer. So first person to raise your hand gets to answer first. All right, Paul.
Okay. Entertainment venues.
Entertainment venues. That is a fantastic answer with 21 on the board. Scott, would you like to offer a rebuttal? There is one answer that is higher than entertainment venues. What is that answer?
Government.
Government is not higher than entertainment. So, all right, Paul, you and Craig get to go first. Here, try to guess the rest of the responses. You have entertainment, which is number 2 on the list. Craig, you're up now. Give us your guess here on one of the top 6 industries utilizing video distribution.
Tyler, there's a lot of good industries to choose from, but boy, deep down in my gut, I'm feeling corporate is high up there on the ladder, baby.
Let's hear corporate, and we have corporate on the board with 9 respondents. Good answer there from Craig. You now have 21 from entertainment and 9 from corporate, which means there are 70 respondents still up there on the board. Now back to you, Paul. What is your next guess?
Athletic facilities. Athletic facilities.
Athletic facilities is stadiums and arenas. That gets you 29. That is the number 1 answer. So you now have number 1, number 9, and number 5. Number 1, number 2, and number 5 of the top 6 answers for Team IP. Craig, back over to you. What is your next guess?
Tyler, I'm thrilled that we got stadium and arenas. But boy, I think education is another venue or another industry in which it's used quite a bit.
That is also correct, Craig. You have now education, so you are on the board there with question numbers 1, 2, 4, and 5, I believe, on the board now for top 6 industries. Paul, back over to you. No strikes so far.
Okay.
And you got 4 of the top 6.
So I'm going to go with churches and religious facilities.
Houses of worship is also on there. There you go. Still rolling. 8 more respondents. You just have 1 more left, gentlemen, and still no strikes. Craig, back over to you. What is your next guess here for possible places that utilize video distribution?
Boy, oh boy, we've hit some good ones. But could be drawing a blank here in the heat of the moment.
We need an answer, Craig. A shot in the dark. So far, we've had stadiums and arenas, entertainment, houses of worship, education, and corporate. We are missing 1.
How about broadcast facilities, Tyler? I'm going broadcast facilities.
Team IP has just earned their first strike. Broadcast facilities is not up on the board. It's back over to you, Paul. What is your guess for the last remaining answer here for top 6 industries utilizing video distribution?
Well, the other would be, I guess, government facilities.
Government facilities is also not up there. That is 2 strikes now for Team IP. You're missing 1. It is the number 3 response on the board up there right now, Team IP. Team RF might start strategizing to try to steal the points here from Team IP right out from under their noses. Just 1 response left. Craig, it's up to you. For all the marbles, what is the 1 missing response here in the top 6 industries utilizing video distribution?
Hospitality.
Hospitality is correct. That gets you all 6 restaurants and bars.
Wow.
Restaurants and bars.
Well, that's
Craig,
entertainment.
Craig pulls it out from the fire. We made a distinction between entertainment and restaurants and bars. And so Craig pulls it out of the fire. All 100 points go to Team IP to get things started. All right. Team RF, you guys gotta crawl out of the fire here and pull yourselves back up into contention. Here we go. We're gonna go to our second group here for the lightning round question. It's gonna be Dan and Craig getting us started this time. Dan and Craig, again, just first person to raise their hand and give me the highest answer will get control of the board for their team. The question here, and first person to raise their hand gets the answer first. Top 5 considerations for video distribution over RF and IP. What are the top 5 considerations? Yes, Dan.
Existing infrastructure.
Existing infrastructure. That is on the board, but it is not our number 1 response.
Oh.
So, Craig, you can steal if you guess the number 1 response. If not, it goes back over to Dan and Scott.
Tyler, I'm going with the almighty dollar, baby. Budget.
Let's see here. Budget. We do not see budget, and so it's going to go over to Dan and Scott. Can't believe it, but Dan and Scott get control of the board first. Team RF, you have control. Scott, what's your first response here?
Future expansion.
Future expansion is on the board. Great answer there, Scott. Fantastic answer. Future expansion is up there. You guys have 2 of the top 4 answers out of the 5, but we still don't have number 1 yet. So we have expansion and growth plans and existing infrastructure. Dan, it's back over to you. What is your next guess for top 5 considerations for video distribution?
Facility control. System control.
System control. Let's see here. I'm going to say we don't have that one on the board, so that is 1 strike for Team RF. 1 strike for Team RF. Sorry, Dan.
That's all right.
Scott, you are back in control with 1 strike on the board. What's your next guess for top 5 considerations for video distribution over RF and IP?
Just consultant preference.
We have consultant preference under IT and AV staff, so that is 6 more points on the board. You now have 3 of the top 5 answers with 1 strike. Dan, back over to you. You have expansion/growth plans, existing infrastructure, and current IT, AV staff and their preferences. So you've got 3 of the top 5, but you're still missing your number 1 answer up to this point for the top consideration for video distribution over RF and IP. What's your recommendation to people when they ask about this? What's your top consideration?
Widely used technology.
Widely used technology is not on the board, so that is 2 strikes now for Team RF. All right, Scott, it's back over to you. You're on the hot seat once again. Your team has 2 strikes. There are 2 answers remaining on the board. So far, you've got expansion and growth plans, existing infrastructure, and current staff. You're missing 2 answers here for key considerations that people should think through when it comes to making a decision for video distribution over RF and IP. What is one of those considerations, Scott?
Distance limitation.
Distance limitations is on there. There you go.
Yes.
Scott staves off elimination for one more round. Dan, it goes back over to you. You're still missing the number 1 answer. We've gotten answers 2 through 5, but we need number 1. What's the number 1 consideration?
Ease of use.
Ease of use is not on there. That is 3 strikes for Team
I'm doing
RF.
terrible here.
It's going to flip over to Team IP. Team IP, this is your opportunity to steal. Craig and Paul, have you thought of an answer that you want for the number 1 response here for considerations for video distribution?
I don't know. The other thing I could think of is, latency. We go with latency.
Let's go for it.
The number 1 response on the board is number of sources and endpoints. Number of sources and endpoints.
Of course.
We head to question number 3.
That's not a fair question.
The teams are already quibbling with the judges. I am just a messenger. All right, now we have Scott and Paul back up to the hot seat for question number 3. Gentlemen, are you ready for question number 3?
Okay.
All right, here we go. We are looking for the top 6 advantages of video distribution over RF. First person to raise their hand.
Oh.
Yes, Scott, go ahead.
High number of channels.
High number of channels. Scalability is on the, we'll give you scalability there. Scalability is number 3 on the list. Paul, we need you to name one of the 2 top ones.
Oh, ease of installation.
Ease of installation is the top answer here. So this one goes back over to Team IP. So we have 1 and 3 responses off of the board. We have ease of installation. You have scalability also on the board. So you've snagged those points from Team RF. All right, we go over to Craig now. Craig, what's your response in terms of top 6 advantages of video distribution over RF?
Tyler, I'm going to go with maybe something that may have been a little similar to what Scott was, I think, trying to convey, but bandwidth. The size of the bandwidth for coax.
I don't see bandwidth on our answers here, Craig. I'm sorry, that is 1 strike on Team IP. Let's kick it back over to Paul. Paul?
Scalability. Okay, lack of dedicated hardware for on the receiving end. So you don't need a special decoder. You can just use a regular TV.
We have controllability. We'll go with controllability there for that one. That will work. So 12 more points over to Team IP. So right now you have ease of installation, scalability, and controllability. We have 3 answers still on the board as we kick it back over to you, Craig.
I'm going to go with cost.
Affordability is on the board as well. 17 more points over to Team IP. So there you go. We have 2 more answers still on the board. The number 2 answer has not been guessed yet. The number 2 answer is not there. So we still have number 2 and then the number 6 answers for advantages of video distribution over RF. Paul, back over to you.
I'm going to go with cable length limitations. So there's less cable length limitations.
There you go. No distance limitations also on there. That is the number 6 response. So you now have 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're just missing the number 2 answer so far here at Team IP. If you want to take the clean sweep, Craig, this is your chance. What's the number 2 answer on the board?
Tyler, if the infrastructure is already there, then why bring in IP?
That's a good answer, but I don't see it on the board necessarily. So 2 strikes now for Team IP. Team RF, you might begin conspiring to steal if Team IP can't get the final answer here. Paul, this comes back over to you. You have 2 strikes, and we're looking for the number 2 answer on the board.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is ease of use. I don't know if ease of use is on there. It's real easy for the end user.
We're gonna give a 3rd strike to Team IP. Team RF, you have an opportunity to steal. Sorry, Team IP. Team RF, Dan and Scott, what do you got? You guys can talk about it for a moment, discuss your answer here. We're looking for the number 2 answer on the board for top 6 advantages of video distribution over RF. Dan, Scott, this is your area of expertise. What do you got for me?
Let's go with no IT department needed.
Can you be more specific about why that's the case?
Because it's all over coax. There is no network.
That was my thought, with no switches and expensive infrastructure, a lot lower cost.
So the number 2 answer on the board is reliability. Reliability. We're going to give all 79 points there from that round to Team IP, as the number 2 response, reliability, was never able to be guessed by either of the teams. That gives Team IP a pretty commanding 179-72 lead, but there are still 2 questions remaining for Team RF to get back in the game. I believe we kick it back over now to Dan and Craig for the lightning round here.
Come on,
to get us
Scott.
started and for control of the board. So Dan and Craig, here we go. We are turning the tables here. And again, I'm looking for first hand raised. We are now looking for the top 6 advantages of video distribution over IP. Yes, Craig.
Me. The infrastructure is already there.
We'll give it to you under simplified cabling. How about that? Simplified cabling. But that is one of the lower answers on the board. The number 1 answer is still up there for you, Dan. What is one of the top advantages of video distribution over IP?
Future growth.
Scalability is on there. We'll give you that one. So, and it is higher up on the chart than what we got from Craig. So, Dan, Team RF controls the board here as we talk about IP. You have a couple of answers on the board right now. You've got a 24 respondent answer and a 9 respondent. We're still looking for the number 1 response, Scott. What is one of the top advantages of video distribution over IP?
Flexibility.
We don't have flexibility on the list of the top 6 advantages. That is 1 strike for Team RF. All right, Dan, back over to you. We're looking for top 6 advantages of video distribution over IP. You have 2 answers already. We need 4 more.
Picture quality.
We'll count that under advanced video compression. There you go. 10 more points over to Team RF. You've got 3. You need 3 more. You still don't have the top answer yet, though. Scott, back over to you. What's your next guess?
No, I just can't think of too many advantages.
More shots fired from Scott Hetzler.
Higher cost.
Higher cost. I'm going to do my best Steve Harvey right here.
That's right.
Do we see higher cost? 2 strikes now for Team RF. All right, Dan, you got to rescue your team here. You've got 3 of the answers on the board: limitless scalability, advanced video compression, and simplified cabling. We need 3 others.
No Google search.
Yeah, no, I'm not Googling. Holding up the process here.
All right, Dan, 5 seconds.
5 seconds. I don't have an answer.
All right, control of the board is going to go back over to Team IP. Team IP, this is your wheelhouse. There are 3 answers left on the board. Right now we have limitless scalability, advanced video compression, and simplified cabling as advantages of video over IP. We're still missing the number 1 answer. Team IP, take a second and talk about it, but then give me your response here on what's left on the board.
Yeah, I guess we could go with distance limitations, or I guess lack of distance limitations.
Lack of distance limitations is not on the board. All 43 points goes over to Team RF. So let's take a look at the remaining answers on the board. At the very bottom, we have reliability with 5 respondents. And then we have affordability with 14 respondents, the opposite of what Scott was trying to suggest. And then And then we have the number one response. The number one response was centralized management of IP control. Centralized management of IP control as the number one advantage of video distribution over IP. All right. We still have a tight battle here. It is anyone's game. Let's get to our fifth and final question for today's game of Distribution Duel. And now we have stepping up to the microphone. Is it Scott and Paul? Yeah, Scott and Paul, step right up. This is our last lightning round here for control of the board here for the final question of Distribution Duel. Here we go. This one kind of steps outside of what we've done so far, so I hope you're ready. Again, first hand in the air gets to answer first. We are looking for the top 6 largest contemporary research systems. Top 6 largest contemporary research systems. Where are they? We're looking for specific locations. Very specific locations here. First hand in the air gets to answer first. Either Scott or Paul. Oh, that was really close. I think I saw Scott go first. Scott, what's your answer here for largest contemporary research systems?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, that is Raymond James Stadium. That is the number one answer. Team RF gets control of the board. Sorry about that, Paul. That was a close one. We might have to go to video review for that. But Scott got it and got the number one response. Scott, your team has control of the board. Team RF has it right now. Dan, that means it's up to you. You are next. What is one of the top 6 largest contemporary research systems?
NRG Stadium.
NRG Stadium is not on here. That is strike number 1 against Team RF. Sorry to NRG Stadium. All right, Scott, back over to you. What's number 2?
New Orleans Superdome.
Superdome is also not on the list of largest contemporary research systems. That
is these questions.
two strikes, guys. I'm merely the messenger. I am your humble host. Our judge reminds us that it is based on survey results, so this is based on perception, not necessarily always reality. So, okay, Dan, back over to you. You have 2 strikes. You do have the number 1 answer on the board with 33 respondents, but we are looking for 67 more. What is left on the board?
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's is on there. That is the number 3 response. You have 16 more points on the board, up to 49. Excellent job there. All right, 2 strikes. Scott, back over to you. You've got Raymond James Stadium and Dave and Buster's, and 4 more answers left on the board.
Seattle Mariners.
Seattle Mariners is not on there. That is 3 strikes for Team RF. We head back over to Team IP. Out of 100 registrants, what did they say is one of the top 6 largest contemporary research systems? We have 4 left on the board. Off the board is Raymond James Stadium and Dave and Buster's. What's left, Craig and Paul?
So Paul, I'm not thinking of numbers. I'm thinking of the respondents here, and maybe Andretti Kart Racing.
Yeah, Andretti Karting would be a good answer. Yeah, let's go with Andretti Karting.
Andretti Kart is the number 2 response. Team IP steals the points and takes the game. Congratulations to Craig and Paul. Congratulations to everybody for having a fantastic matchup, but especially Craig and Paul for winning. Sorry, Scott and Dan. Maybe next time on Distribution Duel, you will agree more with the judges and with the respondents. But a fantastic game and a fantastic battle by all. Thank you again, everyone, so much for being contestants on here. Winning team. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to say about Distribution over IP and RF as the winning team? Any closing thoughts from Craig and Paul?
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. It seems like we've really kind of covered all the bases in the questions and answers.
We have covered a lot of bases. Craig, any final thoughts here? Would you like to gloat or extend a friendly handshake to the losing team? Anything you'd like to say here before we wrap things up?
Well, hey, I blame my victory on Scott because everything I know about distribution over IP or RF is because of that guy. So it's your fault that I'm winning, baby.
Thanks, Craig. You're the best.
All right.
Contemporary research is definitely a proven success in distribution over both mediums, and we certainly have a lot to show for that with all the answers of the install sites that we talked about. So
that's for sure. I had others, but it sounds like they weren't in with the respondents.
That's true. Let's go over the final responses from the respondents here on the top 6 largest contemporary research systems. Miami Heat American Airlines Arena is on there,
American Airlines, yeah.
as is the Esports Stadium in Arlington. And then the last response was the Kalahari Resorts. Kalahari Resorts was also on the board. So there you go, your top 6 responses
I would have
for
never
the top
gotten
6
that one.
largest
No way.
contemporary research systems. You all performed marvelously. Congrats again to Team IP. Team RF, any final words here before we wrap up this episode of Distribution Duel?
RF is the best.
I'd like to say if you look at the largest installations, I think you'll find that they're predominantly RF.
At half or a third of the cost.
Team RF unwilling to concede gracefully in defeat. Team IP, congratulations once again.
That's
Congratulations once again for a fantastic matchup. Everyone, thank you for tuning into Distribution Duel. We hope you enjoyed playing along with us at home or at the office or wherever you might be. Stay tuned. We might be back with another episode very, very shortly. We had too much fun with this one. But for Dan Muckle, Scott Hetzler, Craig Brown, and Paul Briggs, I've been your host, Tyler Kern. We'll see you next time.